On an ordinary October day in 2009, a family of 3 packed their belongings and drove into the remote mountains of Oklahoma. Nothing about that morning seemed unusual. They were excited about buying a piece of land far away from the noise of the city. Friends and relatives believed they were starting a new chapter of their lives. But what happened next would become one of the strangest unsolved mysteries in America. And even today, nobody knows exactly what happened. The family consisted of Bobby Jamison, his wife Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter Madison. They left home and headed toward a remote area surrounded by forests, hills, and empty dirt roads. Then, they vanished. Days passed with no contact. Family members became worried. Phone calls went unanswered. Messages were ignored. It was as if the entire family had disappeared from the face of the earth. When authorities began searching the area, they discovered something disturbing. The family's truck was sitting abandoned on a lonely dirt road. At first, investigators expected to find evidence of an accident. Instead, they found a mystery. Inside the truck were the family's wallets, their identification cards, their mobile phones, large amounts of cash, everything a person would normally take if they planned to leave. But the family was nowhere to be found. Then investigators discovered something even stranger. Their dog was still inside the vehicle. The animal was alive, but extremely weak. It had apparently been trapped there for several days. If the family had willingly left the truck, why would they leave their dog behind? The scene made no sense. As investigators searched deeper into the family's background, they uncovered unusual details. Friends described the family as troubled. There were reports of arguments, financial difficulties, and growing paranoia. Some claimed that Bobby believed strange forces were watching him. Others said Sherilyn had become interested in unusual spiritual beliefs. Whether any of this had anything to do with their disappearance remains unknown. But then another eerie detail emerged. Security camera footage captured the family loading items into their truck shortly before they vanished. The video lasted for nearly an hour. When investigators watched it, they noticed something unsettling. The family barely spoke. They moved slowly, almost mechanically, back and forth, carrying items without any visible emotion. Many people who later watched the footage described it as disturbing, not because anything dramatic happened, but because of how strangely normal everything appeared. It felt wrong, as if something was weighing heavily on them, as if they already knew something terrible was about to happen. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the family could be found. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. The case slowly became colder. The forest kept its secrets. Then, nearly 4 years later, hunters made a shocking discovery. Deep in the wilderness, not far from where the truck had been found, human remains were located. Authorities soon confirmed the heartbreaking truth. The remains belonged to Bobby, Sherilyn, and young Madison. The missing family had finally been found. But the discovery only created more questions. The remains were located less than 3 miles from the abandoned truck, close enough that investigators wondered why they had not been discovered sooner. There was no clear evidence explaining how they died, no definitive signs of foul play, no clear answers, no final explanation. The official cause of death could not be determined. Some believe they became lost in the wilderness. Others suspect murder. A few believe the family was running from something they feared. And there are those who think the truth may never be known. More than a decade later, the case remains unsolved. The abandoned truck, the starving dog, the silent security footage, the unexplained journey into the woods. Every piece of the puzzle raises new questions, questions that may never be answered. Somewhere in the mountains of Oklahoma, a family began what should have been a normal trip. They never returned, and the forest has never explained why.